What's up, guys, and welcome to this. This is your TNA Against All Odds 2025 review show. I'm your host, LK from SOS Wrestletalk. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, drop a comment, and smash that subscribe button. Big weekend coming up for wrestling. Obviously, we got Worlds Collide coming up, as well as the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And then the week after, you've got the New Japan Dominion show. But last night was TNA Against All Odds. As always, in the comments, make sure you guys put win, loss, or tie. Give me your thoughts on what you thought of this year's Against All Odds pay-per-view. I myself am going to give this show a strong tie / weak win. A very weak win, but definitely worthy of a strong tie. There was some good in this show, there was some bad, but overall it wasn't completely terrible. Also, I would like to make a show announcement, a new show a new series, if you will, that I'll be bringing to this channel, and it's going to be called Wrestling Rewind. Logo there on the screen. If you're listening on audio, apologies you can't see that. This will be every Wednesday night. Okay, so every Wednesday night it's going to be called Wrestling Rewind, and the reason why I chose to announce this on this particular show is because it is a TNA show, but the Wrestling Rewind will be a complete coverage of a year in pro wrestling. So what I mean by that is, for example, I'm going to be doing TNA from 2006. I've actually recorded the first 3 episodes already in the fucking can. How proud are you of me? So the first 3 episodes have been recorded, so every Wednesday night right here on the SOS Wrestletalk YouTube channel and the SOS Wrestletalk, all the podcast platforms we've got. Go subscribe. If you prefer listening to these shows, we are available, link is in the description. But what will be is I'll cover every Impact and every pay-per-view in chronological order. So we'll start off with the January 1st episode of Impact, then January the 6th episode of Impact, January 7th, then January the 14th episode of Impact, and then TNA Final Resolution 2005, all the way through the year of 2006. So I'm looking forward to doing that. You guys hopefully will join me. Every Wednesday night we're going to go back, we're going to do TNA 2006, and then once we've completed that year, which is going to take a year to do, I will do a public vote on what we should do for the next season, if you will. Back to Against All Odds, back to current day TNA. And so the show started off with a really good video package, hyping how, an outsider has the current World Championship of TNA, which is true, if you will. I gotta say though, when it comes to these video packages, and especially I've literally just come off watching 3 episodes of Impact from 2006, the opening promos have always been different. They've had their own style of video package, and I do really enjoy them. It does have that big fight feel. So this show's from Arizona, a much bigger building. I can guarantee you online, I haven't looked on social media yet, but I'm following me on Twitter at LK Wrestling. I can guarantee you on Twitter there is constant, the hard cam is empty, this is meant to be number 2 company in the world. Like, no it's not. But B, it's a big building, and I'm not sure if Against All Odds would sell enough people. It isn't embarrassing, it isn't embarrassing at all, but similarly to AEW, running these smaller buildings and absolutely ramming them, it gives it that more of a big fight feel. And then also when you do pay-per-views in an even bigger building, it makes those pay-per-views even more special. So for example, AEW Double or Nothing that was just happened, go check out my review last week, that was in a bigger building, and because Impact was in Dynamite was in smaller buildings, it made that bigger building feel more important, make that pay-per-view feel more like an actual pay-per-view. Just like in theory what WrestleMania is, it's a stadium show. I know they do several stadium shows a year with Rumble and SummerSlam now, and Money in the Bank. But it's got to be different, right? TNA International Championship on the line. We have Mance Warner taking on Steve Maclin in the opening contest. So Maclin was the first international champion. That was crowned a few weeks ago. And the problem you got with this is just replacing the Digital Media Championship that PCO crashed and burned in GCW in December of last year. Did they need another belt? No. They've got the X Division, they got the tag, they got the women's, they got the women's tag, and they got the world. You don't need another belt. You really don't. This one was okay. It was an alright start to the show. It felt like it was an extended squash to get Steve Maclin over, which I'm absolutely fine with. I really enjoy Steve Maclin, so I wasn't not too fussed about that. Again, it's a shame he's not portrayed higher in the card, but I guess not everyone can be in the main event, so at least he's doing something. But I'd rather him, as we're in the middle of this kind of war, they're trying to portray it as an invasion angle, if you will. Not an invasion angle, but, W's coming over and they're winning the World Championship. Why couldn't this one have been, a TNA guy against Steve Maclin against an NXT guy? That could have been different. But it didn't need to be for the belt. I don't think it's necessarily warranting a belt, but just something different. But we got here. This one was okay. But wouldn't it have been better? Hear me out. So I'm going to talk about this a lot. Alisha being in the main event, being the one to stand up and defend TNA. Why is it Alisha? The guy has been in TNA since fucking February, yet he's the one standing up for the company when you got Maclin, who's been there half a decade. You got Eddie Edwards, you got Moose. I think the whole heel and face on the weekly show should be irrelevant. It should be, TNA standing up for themselves, working together. Anyway, I think it should have been Maclin in the main event challenging, but hey ho. That's a different story for a different time. Maclin hit a nice Death Valley Joe from the apron, hit his spear with Warner, who was in the trio, where then got the one with the KIA. It was, like I said, basically an extended squash match. Warner sold very well. It's just, it is what it is. And then we had the system, which was Eddie Edwards, JDC, Brian Myers, and Moose, the current X Division champion, taking on Hardy's Leon Slater, and a mystery partner. Who is it gonna be? So the Hardys come out, mega over, rightfully so. And then the mystery partner is the hometown man. It's Cody Deaner dressed up in NBA gear with a mask that has hometown man on it. And then it came out, I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was actually quite looking forward to seeing who it could be, especially as they're doing, stuff with WWE now. I thought, okay, cool, we're going to get something different here, or even a return of someone or anything like that, and it wasn't. It was hometown man. I felt quite a little bit deflated, if you ask me, but the crowd actually got behind it when he got in there. Like, he took out Edwards and JDC until Moose got in there and took him out. So it actually, me being a bit nitpicky, the crowd did get into it and made it a lot more enjoyable, in fairness. Jeff, this one was actually a pretty damn good match, to be fair. Jeff got the hot tag, Whisper of the Wind. Matt hit a Twist of Fate, Slater with a Springboard Frog Splash for a good 2. All 3 Hardys, including Leon Slater, hit a Twist of Fate for a near fall. Moose murders Hometown Man with a powerbomb on the apron. Truly poor man. He got powerbombed through that fucking apron. Absolutely savage. And then Jeff hit a running crossbody on the floor onto Moose, and then Slater hits this running flip over the turnbuckle and took out 3 members of the system. Slater then goes for a springboard, and then Moose in midair hits a spear. Moose then sets up another spear, which Leon Slater counters into a cradle. 1, 2, 3. Leon Slater's defeated Moose. Do you remember Moose was like the longest reigning TNA champion of all time? Now he's losing as an X Division champion. We'll move away from that. Moose should be the guy. I know they're heels, but it shouldn't be heels face. He should be the guy. It's the whole program, the whole premise of this company right now should be, let's get our world championship back. That should be the premise. That is it. Your world championship is in a different company right now. But yeah, it sets up Moose Slater. That'll probably be a really good match. Let's hope Slater gets the win. Let's hope he takes X Division championship. Moose can move off and move up the rankings into the world title picture. It's been a while now. And then we can get Slater as X Division champion, and we can get him to rebuild this X Division. That's the one thing that, especially watching the TNA 2006 shows, X Division is so prominent. But you got Austin Aries, Shelley, Sabin, Roderick Strong, AJ Styles, Daniel, Samoa Joe, Homicide. Like, it's a who's who. You could put any of those guys in a Hall of Fame and you wouldn't blink an eyelid, right? And that's what they need to do again. That's what made TNA different. That's what made them special. That's what made them stand out at a time when they didn't have much going for them besides kind of Christian Cage and Sting and Jeff Jarrett. There was no big names, but they built those names up. So that's what they need to go back and do. Then we had Jason Hotch against Mustafa Ali. So both of these guys are in a faction called Order 4. But Hotch stood up for Tasha Steelz, who's also in the group, as she was about to get attacked by Ali. Again, there was no physicality. It was kind of, no, don't do that. So it was very technical from the start, basically really good X Division style. See again, Mustafa Ali against Leon Slater, that's something that should be on the direction for the X Division. So it doesn't really feel like a blood feud at the start because they're both obviously in the same faction. You've seen it loads if you've watched New Japan, when in the G1 or Best of Super Juniors you get faction member versus faction member. And then all of a sudden they started exchanging hard chops, the tension picked up. Man, there was some absolutely crazy spots in this one. This felt like true X Division match. There was a Hotch went for a springboard off the second rope and he was going to do it on the apron, but Ali caught him in midair, hit a German on the fucking apron, and then he hit a tilt the world on the apron, and the landing was fucking nasty, absolutely nasty. Tasha still looked concerned after the bumps. don't blame her, poor sod. Hotch then hits a tornado spiked DDT off the second rope to the floor. This is absolutely crazy. Ali then wants Tasha to help. Tasha walks away. Ali goes over to basically grab her, and then Hotch hits a tope con hilo onto him. Ali then goes through the middle rope. It kind of rolls through that he does, and then Hotch hits a running double stomp in the same time. The crowd are like popping for these incredible spots, but there's kind of nothing that's keeping the kind of. It's like these crazy spots are happening, but the story's happening, and the story is a good story, but it's like no one in the crowd knows that this story is going on. Ali then hits a 450 splash off the top. That gets a 2 count because Ali pulls Hotch up before the 3 count, and Skyler, who's on commentary, he walks down. He's offended by this, what are you doing? And then Ali hits a 450 to the top, Hotch with the knees up, 1, 2, kick out, really good near fall. Ali then hits another 450 to get the win. This was a very good match, very good story. I really enjoyed it. The crowd didn't really get into it until the end. Maybe they just didn't follow TNA regularly enough to understand that this was the story. But this was a very good X Division match, and this is what. Hopefully, this is a starting point, a kickstarter to what they should build the X Division around. We want to see Ali against Leon Slater. We want to see Hotch versus Leon Slater. You've got loads of guys on the roster that can wrestle that X Division style. Let's get them in there and wrestling that style. Get Frankie Kazarian back in there. He was a really good X Division wrestler. Mance Warner, he can go in there. There's so much you can do. And go out and scout some guys. There's so many talented wrestlers who aren't jacked and big anymore because times have changed. You don't have to be 6'7" and 350 pounds to make it anymore. So I do hope that they take this advice, this free advice, and rebuild that X Division. And then we have this post match as well. Ali offered a handshake to Hotch, and I was like, okay, cool. The faction's back together. So then Hotch went to shake his hand, and Ali walked away, and the crowd chanted "asshole." So at least the storyline does continue. And then we have the first class penthouse with AJ Francis with co-host KC Devereaux. It's like a talk show. I can honestly say, with my hand on my heart, this was fucking shit. Truly shit. They're talking about something. I'm clueless and I don't care. I'm clueless and I don't even have the interest to look up to my monitor and see what's going on, because it's truly wank. I cannot describe how boring this was. Truly boring. He stops ripping on Santana. Santana comes out, takes out security, powerbombs this Devereaux guy through a table. And then AJ attacked Santana with a champagne bottle, so we're leading to an AJ Francis against Santana match, which will be riveting. Fucking dreadful, truly. And again, I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm just saying, sat here watching it as a customer, a paying customer for TNA Plus. Actually, they got a free trial right now, so go check it out. It's odds 25, and no affiliation. I don't get no kickback from that. It's just a free trial at the minute, so don't give it a go. The TNA Plus app's really good. Works on PC. I don't know how it connects to Xbox or anything like that, but it's pretty damn good app, and it's pretty easy to watch. Actually, you should get the TNA Plus app, because then you can follow along the first season of Wrestling Rewind, where we go back and watch TNA from 2006. There we go. TNA, I'm helping you out here, brother. So you help me out by sorting out your X division, and not having this shit on the screen. Truly dreadful. It really I was like, oh man, because I was coming off a high of, I really enjoyed that Ali and Hotch match, and then this shit. I don't know who would enjoy, like, fuck me. Then we had a Knockouts Championship match. We had Masha Slamovich taking on Léi Yǐng Lee in a pretty damn good match. Indy Hartwell came out. She's on commentary. Their Knockouts division is stacked, because also the Inspiration returned on the pre-show. So, and they're going to be on Impact on Thursday. So there is a really deep and stacked Knockouts division, which is really good to see, because that's again something that was the core of TNA, especially with like Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. So this one, again, very, very hard hitting from the start. These two, constantly back and forth. Slamovich got the win with the package pile driver. Not much story or crowd interest, to be honest. The match itself, as a match, was decent and enjoyable. Slamovich obviously really good, as is Lee. There was really nice twisting the Death Valley driver off the top, and Slamovich was swanton off the second to the floor. There was some really good stuff in there. Then the lights go out. Killer Kelly comes out. She has a stare down with Slamovich. They used to be MK Ultra together. So that's presumably where we're heading at Slammiversary. But give me a shout. Let me hear you out. Hear me out. Sorry. I'm hoping that we get at Slammiversary, which is the next TNA pay-per-view, which will be covered on the channel. I hope we get Slamovich, Killer Kelly, Indy Hartwell, and 2 women from NXT in a Queen of the Mountain match. How about that? How about that for some booking? That is some world-class booking. TNA free of charge again. Free of charge. And then we had Joe Hendry versus Frankie Kazarian. So this match is taking place because Kazarian basically said, I'm disappointed, you're a fucking idiot, you're a loser, Hendry. You lost the TNA World Championship to an NXT wrestler, you fucking imbecile. Is basically the reason this match is taking place. And then Joe Hendry's like, well, fuck you. So Hendry, obviously pissed off, goes after Kazarian straight after the bell. Crowd enjoying it, Kazarian just getting battered. Kazarian finally gets kind of involved with a quick leg attack using the steel steps, and goes to town on working the leg, which is nice because we haven't seen a body part work on the show yet at this point, and we're in kind of match 5. We're kind of nearly 2 hours into this damn thing, and we're finally getting a bit of leg work, which is always nice to see. So Hendry then gets back into it with a cutter. He hits his comeback, but he was selling the leg really well. So, for example, when he did the follow-away slam, he was on one leg, and then when he did the nip-up, he grabbed the leg after. Hendry then went for a choke slam. Kazarian countered with a mid-air reverse STO, which was really nice. Kazarian then goes back to the leg, rolled him up, using the ropes and holding the bagged leg. 1, 2, 3. Match was okay. I dug the leg work. And it involved in the finish. It wasn't kind of just, let's work the legs, there's something to do. It was necessary. It was essential, because if he didn't work the leg, Joe Hendry would have been able to kick out. So that's some good storytelling there. Of course, it's fucking Frankie Kazarian and Joe Hendry. It's not going to be poor, is it? And I like the idea of Hendry having some sort of losing streak, but we got to be careful not to kind of sizzle his flame. Obviously, he had stuff at Mania with Randy Orton, which is a lot of people are kind of like on the fence about. Some people are like, well, your TNA champ just lost in like 2 minutes, so it buried TNA. And then you got other people who are like, well, it's just good brand exposure for TNA, and I'm on that I'm on that kettle of fish. I think it's great exposure. And then post-match, Kazarian tells the interviewer, "What I did was winning," and that is something that Hendry just simply can't do. So I assume we're going to be continuing down the Frankie Kazarian and Joe Hendry feud, which is absolutely fine by me because that match was fine. Excuse me, apologies, didn't mean to break your eardrums there. And we had the TNA World Tag Team titles on there. We had the Nemeths, Ryan and Nick, defending their championship against the Rascalz, Trey, Miguel and Zachary Wentz. I really dig the entrance of Rascalz when they do the spray paint. So basically the LED screen is spray painting their name, and they act as if they're doing the spraying, which I think is just really cool. Match was your standard tag match. Wentz was the babyface in peril until Trey Miguel got the hot tag, hit a really nice dropkick off the top. Is Trey okay, man? He looked... I haven't seen Trey Miguel in a while, right? I'm not saying it as if I know the guy personally and best buds for many years. Oh, I haven't seen him since... But I haven't seen him in a while, right? And when he came out, I was like, fuck, is he okay? He looks kind of a lot smaller and a bit unwell. I'm not meaning to be rude. Maybe he's tired, jet-lagged, not tanned, something like that. But he just, I don't know, and his eyes seemed a bit like puffy, like Buffy. I don't know whether he was kind of high, maybe a bit of a white-eyed going on. But yeah, I was kind of hope he's alright. Ryan got the win here, the Hollywood ending. Match was decent. I won't remember that tomorrow morning, but it was an alright match. It got both teams on the show. It wasn't offensive, and the crowd acted as such. You know, it was okay. And then we had the winner is TNA Director of Authority match with Matt Cardona as the special guest referee because he likes easy cash. We had Santino Marella with Ariana Grace versus Robert Stone, who was with Tasha Blanchard and Victoria, aka who I will be calling Alicia Fox. So this match is taking place as Robert Stone wants basically Marella under review. Okay. But then Morella's cut a good promo on Impact saying how, you know, you're no longer talking to Santino, the Director of Authority. This is Santino, you know, the fucking father. As they've been taking out Ariana Grace, who is Santino's daughter. So this is perfect. This is a great story. Generally, it's a simple story. Father trying to keep his job, and you're going to get serious Santino. And I just want to say, obviously it's Robert Stone, who's been with NXT for a while now. I want to say how, 2011 and 12, I want to say how Robbie E, who is what Robert Stone is called, fucking ruined my X Division run as a child. Yeah, he ruined it. You know, I say a child, I would have been, 17, 18, 19, I don't know. 22, I was definitely at school. I don't think I was still at school. It was definitely secondary school. And I remember, because obviously I watched TNA from 2008, which is why I've chosen 2006 as the year to go back, because actually I've watched the pay-per-views, but I haven't watched the impacts building up to them, so I find that quite interesting. But I used to dread when Robbie E would be in a match. And I know that was him doing his job and I was younger, and maybe I'll even go back and do 2012 after, just for the lulz of it. But I must say that it was just dreadful, his run. In the whole X Division itself, it was just shit. Like, truly shit. What a terrible time. When they do the rise and fall of X Division, that is the fall. When he was the champ. Fucking dreadful. Truly, he set back the X Division 10 years. Easily. Set it back. I mean, it's either he was really good at his job and I hate him all these years later, or he was fucking shit. Who knows? But this was okay, alright? So they brawled through the crowd. A lot less comedy. Santino then goes to use the Cobra. Tessa Blanchard steals it. She runs away. Stone then rolls up, puts his foot on the ropes. Cardona then refuses to count. Stroll pushes him. Vintage ref spot. Cardona pushes him back. 1-2 kick out. Referee's distracted. Alicia Fox hits scissor kicks. Man, she's got a great scissor kick, and she's always had a really good one. And then Santino gets back up. Cobra grabs the Cobra from the daughter, hits stone. 1, 2, 3. Thank fuck we don't have to see Robbie in TNA anymore. Hopefully he stays in NXT so I don't have to watch it. That's my hope. That's my goal. Is that he doesn't come back and he stays in NXT, and I don't have to be bothered with having to keep up with what he's doing. They also then do a hype video for Slammiversary coming up July 20th in the UBS Arena. Hopefully they fill that up. That's a big pay-per-view, so hopefully they build that, because it's a big building. Then we have the main event. We have the TNA World Championship. We have Trick Williams defending against Alisha. Why are they using Elias as the defender of the TNA flag? Why? Is it because WWE knows he's safe? So, is in safe in ring? So they're like, oh, well, looking at your roster, we'll have Alisha up against Trick at your next big show. We trust him to take care of Trick Williams. Because obviously Trick Williams is an investment in their part. You know, he potentially could go on to be a future main eventer for WrestleMania. You don't know. But because this guy's only been there since February, man. Fucking February. And he's the TNA flag defender. It's just like, fuck, what are you doing? I'd rather fucking Mustafa Ali be the TNA flag defender. But the presentation of Alisha in TNA is actually so much better than his WWE run. I guess he's got more freedom. His entrance music's better. His whole the aura around his entrance is better. What he's wearing is better. It's just a lot better. It's crazy. There was wrestlers watching backstage rooting for Alisha. You know, the actual TNA wrestlers. The crowd just started chanting some random shit halfway through this. I guess the beer must have kind of settled in. There was a "Let's Go Cena sucks" chant. Then it burst into a very loud TNA. It's crazy. Trick hit. This was a decent match. It wasn't anything spectacular. Trick hit a really nice pop-up punch. Alisha with a swinging neckbreak on the floor. AJ Francis then comes out. He trips up Alisha. Williams covers 1-2 kick out. Alisha then takes him out with a slingshot crossbody to the floor. Alisha then goes to use the guitar. Trick then uses the belt, hits him on the head. 1-2 kick out, and then Trick hits the trick shot to get the win. So this was a match. If it was on an episode of Impact, you'd be like, good TV main event. As a pay-per-view main event, nah, maybe. It was acceptable. It wasn't anything crazy, but I just at no point did you feel like Alisha was going to win. And actually, that's not fair. I retract that statement. It did feel like at times Alisha was going to win, but it didn't feel like the story that they were trying to tell was Alisha's the defender of TNA, and then commentary, bless their cottons, who, by the way, they did a very good job on commentary, I must say. I hope they stick at TNA for a long time. But they were really trying to enhance the story of, you know, we're TNA, we're not going, you know, they got to defend the belt, they got to get the belt back, and the wrestlers watching it in the back. But then with it being Alisha, it's just not good. If this was Kazarian, Sami Callihan, Eric Young, so many options that you could have gone with. And if that's because WWE were like, well, we'll play it safe with Alisha, we know he's safe, then fair enough, got to do what you got to do. But nah, man. But overall, strong tie. You know, the Morella match was alright. Tag match is okay. Hendry Kazarian match is alright. Women's match was okay. Hotch Ali was my match of the night. Really dug it. Systems 8-man was a decent match. Opener was just a squash. Main event was fine. There was nothing insulting on this show besides the terrible AJ Francis. And if we have to go AJ versus Alisha, that's something I really am not interested in. I really tell you now. But with that in mind, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below your thoughts on this year's Against All Odds pay-per-view. Looking forward to reading them. I'll be back this weekend. Got some shows coming up. We've got, later on tonight, we've got the Worlds Collide show. We'll be reviewing that. And then on tomorrow, being Sunday, I'll be reviewing Money in the Bank. Then on Wednesday, you guys, you know after listening to this show, you're going to tune into this channel to watch Wrestling Rewind Season 1, Episode 1, where we're going to cover TNA from 2006, from Impact January the 1st, all the way to the end. Join me on that journey. With that in mind, guys, like, comment, subscribe. This has been LK. Make sure you stay safe, stay well, and I'll be catching your asses down the line.